نستعين ونستغفر الله. أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا، من يهد الله من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We ask Allah to send praises. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Indeed, Allah and His Messenger, Allah and His angels send salam or يصلون على النبي, send blessings and praises on the Prophet alayhi salam. All you who believe, send praises and blessings on the Prophet and give him the salam. Allah's blessing on the Prophet has to do with giving him good in this life and the next. The angels making salah on the Prophet has to do with asking Allah to give him the good in life and in this life and the next. And we make salah on each other. We can make, as dua says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala al Muhammad kama sallaita ala Muhammad wa ala al Muhammad. In other words, the salah or asking for blessings is not just for the Prophet, it's for anyone. It's for, we ask for blessings on the Prophet and the Sahaba and the righteous people, anyone who follows them in righteousness until the day of judgment. So don't be surprised if someone says Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam on Abu Bakr or on Umar, because it's a dua that you're making. This expression is not exclusive to the prophets, as some people might culturally understand. It is a footnote. So don't jump on people. Try to understand what you're saying first. Because some people will say that no, the salat is only for the Prophet. Adam alayhi salam is only for Adam, it's only for the Prophet. But it's not, because it literally means peace be upon him. So peace be upon you, upon Adam, upon Muhammad, upon Abu Bakr, upon Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, everybody. It's no big deal. There's no, it's not an exclusive term for the Prophet. Back to the language of Tawheed. The hadith of Jibreel, famous hadith where the Prophet and his companions were sitting down on the one hot day, and this man came. There was no sign of traveling on him. They didn't know who the person was, so it wasn't a local person. And if it's not a local person, then it means that he traveled from far away. But there's no sign of traveling on his face or his clothes. His clothes was like white thobe and black hair, and there's no sign of traveling on him. No sweat. No, his clothes like perfectly arranged. And then he sat next to the Prophet, like a student sitting next to the teacher in front of him, and asked him, أخبرني عن الإسلام. أخبرني عن الإسلام. Tell me about that Islam. And the Prophet said, Al-Islam and tashhad an la ilaha illallah. The first thing, Tawheed. Islam, the deen of Allah, the deen of submission to Allah, is to bear witness that only Allah deserves to be worshipped. La ilaha illallah. La ma'buda bil-haqq illallah. La ma'buda bil-haqq illallah. Nothing deserves to be worshipped. There's no object of worship except Allah. Right? La ilaha illallah. And this concept of worship, as some of the scholars have defined, is to do with, it's a comprehensive term involving or comprising words and actions and thoughts, right? that is pleasing to Allah. So ibadah here, takes a very comprehensive meaning. It is a specific of what we do as far as the salah and the siyam and hajj and dhikr, and it is the general as well. Helping an old lady cross the street, that's ibadah. If your intention is to please Allah by doing this act of kindness, that's ibadah. So Jibreel alayhi salam asked him, and the Prophet alayhi salam, mentioned it. And it goes on, and Jibreel said, Sadaq, you have spoken the truth. So as we can see here, Akhi, Ikhwan, the first thing in terms of Islam, and Islam in general, when compared to Iman and Ihsan, the levels of Islam, is the lowest level of Islam, so to speak. If you look at Islam as a deen, then Islam specifically is the lowest form of your deen. In other words, it's the outward form of your deen. It's what people see. The way you speak, the way you dress, the way you worship, the outward part of your deen. This is Islam. Right? And we can only say that a person is Muslim by what he says and what he does. If he doesn't say anything, and he worships like you and me, he prays and fasts, we say he's Muslim. Maybe he's not Muslim. He could be a munafiq. It could be whatever. We don't know that. We can only go by the external, right? Because Allah did not send the Prophet ﷺ to split people's head and see what's inside it. You know, so we can only go by the outside, the outer. Allah is the judge of what's on the inside. So the first thing on the outer part of our deen and Islam is La ilaha illallah, Tawheed. Right? So in other words, you know, your actions should reflect this aspect of Tawheed, this external action. An example. Allah Azza wa Jalla swears by whatever He wants. Allah can swear by His creation. Allah takes an oath by His creation. Allah says, "Wal Fajr," by the dawn. Wal Layl, you know, by the night. You know, Wal Shams, by the sun. Allah is swearing by His creation. Can we say Wal Shams? Can we swear by Allah's creation? No, this is shirk, the opposite of Tawheed. We cannot swear by anything except by Allah, and that takes different expressions. You know, I swear by Him in whose hand my life is. وَلَدِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ. You know, Wallahi, Uqsim Billah, Ahlif Billah. All of these different expressions are to do with taking an oath, swearing by Allah. Wa-Rahman. You know, Ar-Rahman is one of Allah's attributes. We can swear by Allah's attributes. You know, because Allah's attributes are part and parcel of Allah. We don't separate Allah's nature from Allah. Allah is one. So we cannot say, I swear on my mother's grave. This is shirk. This is association partners with Allah, because what you're saying is that your mother's grave is equivalent to Allah. وَلِيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ. So you can't say that. So we should apply Tawheed, La ilaha illallah, in our everyday, in our Islam, our outward practices, our outward sayings. And then Jibreel alayhi salam goes on to ask the Prophet alayhi salam about Iman. أخبرني عن الإيمان. What is Iman? And it goes on. Iman is to believe in Allah. Al-Iman, you know, Al-Iman, believe in Allah, Iman billah, wal-malaika, wal-kutub rasul. It goes on to say, Iman is believing in Allah, and the angels, and the books, and the last day, and qadar, predestination. But the first thing is, Al-Iman billah. So the first part of Islam is doing something to do with Tawheed, and the first part of Iman is to do with Tawheed. In other words, externally and internally is the same. It's the first thing. Al-Iman billah. Believing, making Allah one, Tawheed, making Allah one. Externally and internally. You know, at the Islam level and the Iman level. Al-Iman billah. Now, Al-Iman billah is comprehensive of the Tawheed. This is what we mean when we say that, you know, in terms of one division, Tawheed is Al-Iman billah. In terms of three divisions, we can say it's Al-Rububiyyah, Al-Uluhiyyah, Al-Asma wa Sifat. The attributes and characteristics of Allah, which I forgot to mention in the first part, what this really meant. I mean, we could go and take some examples, Al-Asma wa Sifat, you know, the names and attributes of Allah, you know, and what it actually means is that Allah is the only one that has these names and attributes in perfection. And Allah is Ar-Rahman, He's the most merciful, Ar-Rahim, the most compassionate, Al-Wadud, the loving, Al-Ghafur, the forgiving. Now, you know, we say, again, the aspect of affirmation and negation, or negation and affirmation. ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. This is a standard formula for understanding Allah's attributes and characteristics, Tawheed in general. ليس كمثله شيء, again, negation, there's nothing like Him. ليس كمثله شيء, there's nothing like Him. وهو السميع البصير, negating that is anything like Allah, and then you say وهو السميع البصير, and He's the all-hearer, the all-knower, the all-hearer, the all-seer. وهو السميع البصير, and He's the all-hearer, the all-seer. Now you might say, there's nothing like Allah, but now you're using words that, you know, people or creation in general have in common with Allah. You might get that impression. You know, As-Sami', the hearer, Al-Basir, the seer. Right? So you might say, well, this thing sees, and that thing sees, this thing hears, that thing hears. So the people that worship idols might say, you see, we're not wrong in saying that our idol hears and sees, because you're saying now that, your God hears and sees, and, it's like creation. But this is a false belief, because like we said before, Allah is one. There's nothing like Him. So whatever you can think of is not Allah, is not like Allah. But Allah hears and sees. These are the attributes of Allah. Allah has kalam. He has haya, life. Allah is al-hayy al-qayyum. He's ever living. So Allah is haya. Allah has life. But is Allah's life like our life? No. It'll be shirk to think that Allah's attributes are like our attributes. So Allah has the attributes that we understand, and more that we don't understand, in perfection. Whereas our attributes of the same name, are temporary. They come and go. They're limited. Because everything that's created is limited. Allah is the creator, therefore He's not limited. And we are His creation, therefore we are limited. So there can be, there should not be any hesitation in understanding that Allah, is one in His attributes and names. And of course there are examples of, there are names that we have in the Quran and Hadith, but there are others that we don't know. Because Allah has chosen names for Himself that He has not mentioned anyone. And there are certain names He has mentioned that He has only given to certain people, certain prophets, for instance, certain righteous people, that we will never know of, we will never heard of. But what has been transmitted to us, and those that haven't, we believe in them, that Allah has all these in perfection, and nothing is like Him. ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. So back to the external and the internal. Again, we said Tawheed on the external level is your Islam, what you practice, right, of La ilaha illallah. And on the internal level, it is the Al-Iman, what you believe about Allah. There are several books that summarize the belief in Muslims in general, and like I said, our current Islam is like the pillars of Iman, sort of like 6. Others, these are